Hey bros, Kanal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Decent day in the markets for some action. You had a pretty good pop in the QQQs, setting up for CPI tomorrow. And, that's usually what everybody's been waiting for all weekend. So there's been a little bit of positioning that's been happening this week. Let's take a look at some of the levels and see what the heck is going on here. Couple notes. In the past, the CPI was super important. If it came in hot, the market was tanking. If you beat by even just a small bit, 0.01 or whatever, market was ramping. We are not in that phase right now. Be careful if the CPI comes in, say, like you miss, right? And it's supposed to be 3.2 and it comes in at, say, 3.3. It's not necessarily a big enough miss to set the market on fire to the downside. What we have seen in the last few times that we've had these numbers come out, the market has sucked up the bad news pretty quickly. So if you miss by, say, even 0.1 or something along that end, and you gap down 1% or something, right? Something real light. There's a good shot based on this price action we've been seeing this year that it gets bought up. Not just this year, right? But since November. So just be mindful. Look at the strength of the trends on this. This is some buying that's been going on here. So just be mindful. If you get a big miss, right, then, okay, we'll start looking at the levels and, maybe we have to readjust our kind of plans and stuff like that. But as of the moment, right, we have this old high over here. And if you're really looking at a 30-minute chart over here from the recent low of January 8th, we've got, we're just really riding up the EMAs and kind of trending nicely. So until this right here gets kind of smoked out, I don't think that, we have to be that defensive. This can change on a hot dime, but everybody wants to be bearish, but we just haven't seen any evidence of that yet. We did have a nice 4 or 5 day pullback, and you can see we came right into supports and bounced off. And this is the thing, guys, when supports hold where they're supposed to hold, when oversold readings actually follow through, as soon as you get oversold, right, you see this is stochastics on the QQQs, that's a really bullish thing so far. The SPY's right at a key level over here, and it's got an attack at this 480. And then we'll see. We'll make some decisions once we get there, on what the price action is looking at. But I think it's very important not to step in front of the train and take a big guess and let your feelings or emotions get in the way of what you're thinking. Don't sit there and read the news and be like, well, this is happening and this is happening, therefore stocks should go down. It just doesn't work like that. Think about price action, and then, let that be the gauge. The big movers after hours has been Bitcoin and Mara. We had the Bitcoin approval, and we did end up with a small dump, and then you've rocketed right back. This, this is not a huge surprise. I was expecting a sell the news event, but we kind of been selling, that sell-off has been happening for a while, and, at least in our chat room, we've been shorting every single pop in this coin for days. So that kind of sell the news event is already played out. I think we have some levels now that we just got to be really mindful of. This is your hourly chart here, right? And, you've got some spots here at 161, give or take, that you can trade around. If it fails there, or, if it rips back into 145, this is the box we're in, right? This is the box we're in, and we'll let these ranges and the price action and the patterns that develop kind of tell us what we need to do. Mara's already kind of ripping out of that box today. You can see here it's been in a little bit of a range too. I'm drawing this like an asshole, but we're right in that kind of zone of love over here. So you got this sweet spot, just been kind of running into this for the last few days. We'll see how we kind of react. 27.50, 27 is the zone of love. And, if we get some action, more power to it, right? There's a level here on the daily chart that can really curl this thing up. Or, if it gives it back and, we end up losing this 20 SMA, which is right at the bottom of the candle, then we know, all right, it's a fugazi. We can come in short. We'll be able to be very pliable on either end. And, you can see the rest of these are just kind of sitting around. So we'll get an idea, right? You have an 11 spot on CLSK, and then what happens, happens. On the other side of things, we don't need a huge watch list. These big caps have been where the heat's at. You got Meta here today on an upgrade. Like, hot damn, right? You've got a nice location on this. Watch this thing for any dips. If it gaps up huge tomorrow, you can't chase it. But say it opens off weak, right? And you're getting down into 368, 367. You start to kind of test into this zone of love over here, right? We could try to flip this thing and hit this thing for a bounce. It's been acting pretty nice. I would say AMD had a little bit of a rest day so far, and we've got a level that's developing here to keep an eye on too. So this will be something, just be super mindful of these levels. There's so many of these damn, right, charts that are just, right, like right at the breakout spot. A rest day would really help, right? Like you just had Amazon at the 50-day moving average. Dude, who was buying into that, right? Somebody had the stones to come in, and now they're getting paid, and you're coming into the breakout spot. Now, look, it's had 3 big days. You want to be a little bit careful. Like, you don't want to come in, right, too hot on something like that. But I think there's a couple of these that look like they could still break out here. Look at this old Uber, right? Old Uber's got a big level right there. Like, this is where we want to go with these things, right? We want to go with these things. And you even have, like, if you look at, like, something, right, like Apple or something, right? You came into the 200-day moving average. You're starting to make a little bit of a W pattern here, right? Watch this 9 EMA. If we take that thing out, that's going to be, pretty bullish for the markets. And then, look, Microsoft's got a spot, right? Today was spot 1. That's where the players are playing, right? A lot of people were adding this for swings yesterday. Today was more of a day trade day on it. But you can see here, like, it could need a day of rest here, right? If you had one inside day and then kind of a breakout, that'd be really awesome. It may not wait. We'll have to see how it opens. I hate when you have, like, kind of 3 decent-sized days and then a stock tries to break out because you run out of steam a little bit. If you think about where a breakout spot is, it's like the beginning of a race, right? That's your breakout spot. So if you've already ran a race going into your race, then, oftentimes you can get failed breakouts. But sometimes just hot is hot. And, even though you're coming in so hot into this, sometimes hot is just hot, right? And we'll just have to kind of be mindful of this level. If we can get it, then, then we'll do what we do. But these are kind of, these are the spots that you want to be really, really looking for. So we got cryptos, we got some of these big caps usually on these CPI days too. I find it personally a lot. I just like to trade these really liquid names because you can get the fugazis. But beyond that, like, you can trade the indexes and stuff like that. And this is the thing. This is the main thing I'm watching. This will give us a tell on this year, right? This IWM, it's got a big base here. If you look at this, your 30-minute chart, right? We pulled back here. We've been basing out about this 197. And if you look here, like you've made, right, inside day after this kind of push. And, really a series of narrow range days minus this day. So we've got a spot here at 197 that if it breaks, some good things could happen for the market. And if that happens, then, the rest of indexes can break out. Now, price action's bullish so far. You never know, right? The markets always can roll over, so protect yourself. What happens when things get giddy and, like, you see stocks like Meta and NVIDIA going? People start YOLOing things overnight. They get a little bit crazy with their risk. And then that's usually, when the random rug pull happens, you're like, oh, shit, what just happened, right? So do be mindful. Raise up your stops. Keep managing your risk. And, we'll see where this thing goes. But let's keep an eye on these cryptos. And, we'll see what's going on. Maybe there'll be a fugazi tomorrow in Coin or Mara. Or a double Lutzi, right? Sometimes you get double fake out. So we'll be prepared on all those things. But watch this IWM too. You've got a sweet spot here that we could trade around. Something like this too. Like you can just roll in You know, like obviously it's an index. You know, you can always just come in, right, with the calls on these, and you can go the next day strike price, right, on a Friday and see what happens. So, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Peace in the Middle East. Take care.